Thanks for joining us here on Seattle Organic SEO's YouTube channel. Today we're talking about an analytics issue, which all of us will be probably more busy with as we approach July 1st, 2023, when the cutoff date for old Universal Analytics in GA or Google Analytics goes away, and we all rely on this new format or this new GA4 version of Google Analytics. Today we're going to actually tackle an issue which we were used to obtaining data within Universal Analytics, and that is the conversion rate information, which we could probably go into detail here, but we won't. We'll just start off with how it looks here in the new interface to hopefully get you more comfortable. So first off, to set the stage, basically you can evaluate conversion rate data or conversion rate information from sessions or users. And we're going to explore both, but just wanted to make sure you knew that, because unfortunately, it may be a little bit different, and very importantly, you will want to obviously make sure that you build the right report. So anyway, let's start off first with what happens by default. So first off, in the new GA4 interface, a lot of reports are not by default or basically built for you. You kind of have to build them yourselves. So like the conversion rate data does not necessarily by default show up. So you can see that by clicking on this icon here on the left hand side with reports, and in the reports some of the data that you've had in the past, like organic search as far as a source or direct, etc., that stuff still does by default show up, and so that's kind of good. But we might be looking for more data. So let's say I was going to try to find that report or a report that shows me that information. We might go to the traffic acquisition branch of acquisition and then try to find it. So let's look at this. You have user sessions, engaged sessions, average engagement, engaged sessions, events per sessions engagement rate, events counts, etc., conversions, but no conversion rate, because we don't get to look at literally what each of the channels did across all of the different channels. I guess you could do the math relatively quickly, but let's say we want to add that to the report, because it by default doesn't necessarily show up. Well, what you do is you have to actually click on a section off to the right, which again by default doesn't necessarily show up. So when you do click on the traffic acquisition section and you are able to basically access the right hand side, you see this pencil? It's kind of hidden if you're not really looking far to the right. You have to click on that, and then once you do and you click on basically this area where you can customize the report, you want to click on, I believe it's metrics, and then when you do, you'll have this ability to add other metrics or other forms of basically data. And as a result, this can get you this other information. If it wasn't metrics, it was, let's see here, I was thinking maybe it might be dimensions, but I was pretty sure that was under the metrics section here. And then once you click onto that, let's look for basically the area where you can add that information. So obviously there's a lot of information here, but let's go session conversion rate. There it is. So if you can't find it, you will just want to type it into the bottom, and then you highlight this. And once you do, I believe by highlighting it, see, it's a slight darker color. You click on apply. And then once that is applied, it should show up in the report off to, right here to the right. And you'll have that information then that you can basically use moving forward. We'll try to get you more information as far as like how to customize reports in terms of the way you view, but briefly that is one way to access the conversion rate data by sessions. Now, let's say you want to do it through another type of report. And so if you are looking to do that, you might want to actually leverage another section. And so it's kind of funny, because it looks like maybe even because of the fact that this whole setup with GA4 is so new, they may not have gotten all the bugs, because I don't know if you noticed, but off to the left, it doesn't just automatically show up. But let's say we do want to create a report that has perhaps some of the data that's specific to, let's say, even users. So conversion rate via users. We'll want to leverage basically the Explore feature or explorations, which are basically like new reports. And then in here, you'll want to click on this, multicolored Google plus symbol where you're basically leveraging the blank report and creating a brand new one. And so in this particular section, you'll have to literally select a few different items. So what we recommend here today is you want to add at least one dimension. And that first dimension would be basically the source or session source in medium, not necessarily the session source, but the session source / medium. And what we'll do is literally under the traffic source column, or header / drop down menu, you should be able to find this session source here. Yep, there it is. And you click on that, and then once you've clicked on that, you'll want to import that as an option in your dimensions. And then after you have that, you'll want to add a few different metrics that you can kind of examine it across. And what we recommend here today is literally the sessions. So let's go under the sessions header / drop down menu and click on sessions. We can, basically fold that according or whatever you want to call it back up and look for total users, which is going to be under user. And so let's go down here and click on total users. Another item in here, user conversion rate, would be good to have. And so we'll have basically those two under basically user. And then we can just kind of fold this back up and then look for a couple other items. So under session, I think we did the other sessions before, but also I forgot to add the session conversion rate. So let's do that. Even though we have already examined it in one way, we'll have that data here just in case. But then we're going to actually add one more item under user, which is basically, oh no, we already did that, the user conversion rate. So we have that information. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and then maybe one more item that would be kind of handy is under conversions, I think is, or under event rather, you have conversions. So you have this information. This is the whole confusing part probably of this whole setup, is just trying to find it under each of these headers / accordion / drop down menus. But once you have those 5 items, click on import. And then you'll want to do is, what you'll want to do is just put those dimensions into the different areas. So dimensions into rows, and then the metrics probably into the columns section here, or values, apologies. Metrics basically get thrown here. And then once you have them in these particular areas, it's similar to, I believe, some of the custom reports that are built out in the old Google Analytics or Universal Analytics. So if you're used to doing that, this is probably a lot easier for you all. But if you haven't, this is probably new, and it will be something that you'll want to get used to, because there'll be probably lots of other reports that you may end up needing to basically build. So let's see if we got them all here. Total user sessions, total user conversion rate. Session conversions didn't seem to populate here for some reason. Maybe it's limiting us to perhaps 4 different dimensions. Hard to say. Regardless, once you get all this information in here, I believe Google Analytics, your GA4, will automatically save this report. But just in case, you might want to edit the name, create basically, let's say, sessions via or conversion rate rather, CVR versus in sessions, plus maybe users, or whatever naming convention you basically want to use. And so then once it's in there, hopefully it will be available, which I believe there is a small bug as far as I could tell. So let's say you go back to the conversion. Yep, it is kind of interesting. They don't automatically change the name, so you might have to actually, if you want to look for it again, under a specific name, so CVR, sessions plus maybe users, and then you'll have that in your basically catalog of reports. So that's basically it as far as building these reports to evaluate conversion rate data in a more customized way. And now you can see there are 2 different ways you can do it. Add it to the default reports if the data doesn't exist or the columns or metrics don't exist, or two, you will have to build or possibly build a new quote unquote exploration, which is a new format of basically building customized reports. And so GA4 was built, I believe, to not depend or be reliant on these standard reports, but allow us to become a little bit more equipped and also more powerful in our abilities to basically build analytics views from different ways. So anyway, hopefully that helps, and apologies if it was a little bit redundant in some respects, but hope you got at least some information that will help you build further reports moving forward. Thanks for visiting, and have a great one out there with all your analytics and search engine optimization needs.